Hey, what's up, guys? Dave Kunsek here with Connor Zimmerman. I am the owner of Clean Marketing. We're a Facebook marketing company for pressure washers, exterior cleaners, and such. And Connor here is our sales manager, one of the best here. He's over 250 sales. He knows what he's talking about. He works on the programs as well. But what we're going to cover here today is what makes a pressure washing Facebook campaign work. Now, people that run them by themselves, they have their own theories of what they work, and a lot of times you'll see in the forums like Pressure Washing Friends and the other groups that they've spent money, things don't work, and again they write Facebook off after $20. But the thing is, there is kind of a science to it. While the important parts are your offer, the content, and what is in the ad, there's many other factors that make it work, and that's kind of what we're going to go through here. We're going to go down step by step here through and just talk about what we found that works, in different areas of pressure washing, window cleaning, paver sealing, and that's our core competency. But we do other home services outside of that. We just don't advertise like we do have some carpet cleaners and such. So we do have a really good basis of what works and what doesn't. So first thing we're going to tackle here is the offer. What makes an effective offer when you're running Facebook ads? Now, obviously, you're talking to people, and you're doing onboarding, you're coming up with their offer. Like, what kind of offers do you have people suggest to you they want versus the ones that work?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to specific markets, of course, are going to be different, right? Every state is a little bit different. What our clients in Pennsylvania can use as their offer is a little bit different than somebody, say, in Florida.
Yep.
Just based on competitiveness. Now, we have many different types of offers that we run. We do request for quote. We do starting at prices. We've done vouchers, for a certain dollar amount off. We've even done percentage off before and had a little bit of success with that as well. So there's a lot of different options that you can do. Most of the time we try to stick to a starting at price. The main reason for that is going to be that with Facebook, they're scrolling.
Yep.
They're not searching for you. You're trying to catch their attention with something. If you put a percentage off offer in there, they don't necessarily know what the price is going to be.
Yeah, they don't know what percent is going to be off of what.
Yes, exactly. Yep. So
Yep.
starting at price is a way to grab their attention, give them a general understanding of possibly what it's going to cost for that type of service. So that's what we try to stick to. Now for paver sealing, because of the nature of that service, we always go request for quote. And that kind of brings me to another point with Facebook. When you get to a certain price point, you want to switch it over to not including that price. There's a certain price point on Facebook, usually it's around $300, that once you get over that, it drops.
Now we're talking about for saying, this service for $300.
Yes.
So, and that's relating like pressure washing.
Yes, for a house wash. If you wanted to do over $300, it's probably not going to work with that style of offer.
And that's not to say that you can't charge that much or you won't get that much, because a lot of our clients get a lot more than that. It's just that with the whole scrolling and people are not looking for pressure washers, you need some kind of a minimum viable offer. And again, I hate to use the word bait, but you need something to catch their attention to bring them in, which again, it could be limited by square feet. If you're doing windows, it could be limited by the number of windows and number of panes. But those are the type of offers that I've noticed work the best.
Yeah.
Now, that's usually where we try to lead clients. But a lot of times when they come in, sometimes we'll start onboarding a client, and they'll make the statement that, hey, I have a minimum price of $499 or $500, and I don't start my truck for less. And obviously we have to respond to that, because saying that in an ad really doesn't work out. So, like, how do you handle when someone comes in and they're trying to force us to use an offer for their program, which we're guaranteeing, and we know it's not going to work? Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah, when someone comes in and says that, usually I just try to explain to them that, it's really choosing between two things. You can either, get the volume of leads that we're talking about and that we see with our clients and the averages that we give you, that I give you on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
or, you can kind of take that out of the equation, use the offer that you would like to run if you have a minimum or whatever the case may be, and then there's absolutely no guarantee that you'll get anything. We don't run those offers, and when we have, they haven't worked as well, and that is a fact. They just don't work as well. It's just the nature of this specific type of marketing. The thing about Facebook is that you got to be ambitious. You got to be eager. You have to be willing to work those leads. The revenue stream is there. It is absolutely there. We have case studies on clients who are 5, 6, 7xing their investment, but you have to be ambitious and be willing to talk to the leads in the same way that I do. We have a minimum for our programs, and I would say we have more clients signed up with us on higher tiered programs than our minimum than we do at the minimum.
Yeah, and that comes down to sharing the value. And again, we use a lot of different tools to do what we do, and obviously with those different tools, there's more time investment. There's this expense to go up, and the same thing with you guys. You might have to quote on your driving distance to get to a specific lead, which again is part of your targeting to make sure you're finding people in your service area, the chemicals you need to use, and so forth. Maintenance on your truck, if you have employees. But all that needs to be factored in. So when someone comes in and tells us, hey, we do have a minimum, we do understand that. But again, with Facebook, you need to find a way to get them in. You want to get on the property, and you want to, look around and upsell them. Or again, like I said, make sure when you're quoting, they understand that the offer that's put out is for a minimum viable offer, whether that's for 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 square feet, whatever that is for you. That's just stated. So on from there, again, sometimes we run offers and they don't work. And when I say don't work, you're just not getting the result you want. You're not getting the number of clicks. You're not getting the messages. You're not getting the messages turning into leads. So what I call that is a feedback loop. So when you're running an offer and people are clicking, but they're not taking action, meaning not giving their contact information, that's feedback in the market. And what that's saying is that they're not going to accept what you're offering. It's just not going to work on Facebook. So the only course of action is, at that point, is what you got to do is adjust it. You can keep running it because that's what you feel like it should be, and that's what you want. And maybe that's what you get from Google Ads or referrals. And again, which you really can't compare because those are two totally different animals from Facebook. But you got to adjust your offer. Now, in your experience, when you've adjusted people's offers, how have you seen the results turn?
You mean as far as adjusting them to an offer that we feel comfortable is going to work?
Yes. Yep. And we did mention a couple here in the beginning, but just know we have a book of them that we found have worked over the years.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, it does the trick. Now, it's not 100%. There's so many other factors that we will cover that get into and we'll go over what makes a program actually successful. This is just one piece of the pie. But 9 times out of 10, it usually works. Now, again, like I said, every area is different. So we have to kind of look at your market specifically. We'll actually do some research and figure out what is kind of going on in your specific market, what other people are running, to make sure that we're putting you in a competitive position.
Yep, I agree. So on from that part, that when we have the offer, so the next part is the content. And again, the gold standard for us is before and after. And again, that seems to be what works the best for pictures. Now, there are other plays as far as branding and such, but again, if we're trying direct response to get your money back as quick as possible, we're looking at before and after. So you kind of just want to go over what you have seen are the best kinds of pictures, and again, as far as the ad text, the ad content, what goes in there. And again,
as far as ad content, it really just comes down to making sure your pictures are crisp, making sure that you're taking quality pictures of your work so that you can show off the work that you do, and that also is going to show off the value of your company. I did want to touch on value. How he said, when you are on the site, then you can kind of show your value. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to walk someone around their property and explain to them, hey, if you really wanted to, you could go buy a pressure washer for, I don't know, $150, $200, not a commercial one.
Well, yeah.
That's what people think. They're like, oh, I could...
Something you can wash your furniture with.
Yeah, I could go buy a pressure washer at Home Depot and I could do this. But then when you're walking them around and saying the process and all the chemicals that you're using for your soft wash or whatever it is that you do and how you do it, they're going to understand the pricing then and the price point of why it's costing what it costs, and they're going to see that value.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the content. Just crisp pictures. Now, before and afters, they're definitely a staple, but it's not the only thing that we use. We do videos. we've done time lapse videos. We do still images. We've even done the personal ad, which is pretty successful for us.
That's a good backup. And the personal ad is basically just a picture of you and your family, you and your equipment, and your dog. It doesn't really matter. Just something that demonstrates that you're local to that area, and you're looking to help them with the specific problem that you serve. And that has worked really well.
Yeah, and then we do base your ad text around that as well. Instead of an ad text for a before and after style where we're kind of talking about what you're seeing in the picture a little bit, it's more so based around, this is a family owned and operated company. This is Brian, he's been doing this for X amount of years. It's more personal style, more family based, family friendly, I would say, because people like to see that. They're going to trust a certain amount of money into this company. They like to see that family aspect for sure. That's a huge thing that we like to play off of with that type of ad. But as far as the content and pictures, just make sure that you're taking the same picture if you're doing a before and after picture.
Yep.
A lot of the times that's what we'll see is that it's a different angle completely, or it's hard to tell.
And sometimes the time of the day throws it off, depending on the light of the sun.
Shadows and lighting. I know it's tough because it can change, but just try to make sure that the lighting is similar. But those are the biggest things: lighting, the angle, and just make sure it's a very, very similar picture.
And if you do a long job and it's an actual dramatic finish and you have a good before, it'd probably be worth your time to drive back the next day at the same time when you took the before, so you can get the same lighting and you can actually see the difference without people online saying, hey, this was Photoshop. Because we've seen that too. Sometimes we, like with paver sealing, sometimes, you go from this white, milky, messed up looking pavers and they become like really deep brown, orange, like vibrant looking, and people feel like it's Photoshop, but it's not. It's just that the person that took the picture really took some care and some time into when and how they took those pictures.
Yeah.
So, okay, so far we covered the offer, the content, meaning your picture, your ad text. The next thing we're going to talk about is the market. And again, we have markets. We serve the entire United States. We're physically right here in this office here in Pennsylvania. Most of our clients are south of here. We have a lot in Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas. We start going out west. It's kind of sporadic depending on the area. But the thing is, what we find is the offers that work here in Pennsylvania don't work in Florida, and vice versa. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But you just don't know until you test them out and figure out what's going to work where.
Well, it could also be vice versa in the fact that paver sealing, for example, way more opportunity and popularity in Florida than Pennsylvania. There's not nearly as many paver driveways here or paver patios. So that's how vice versa could come into play as well.
Yeah, but mind you, when you get in areas where there's money, stuff just works great. Like, for example, we have 2 clients in the Long Island, New York area. Long Island, there's money there. And stuff there that works okay other places, it works great there just because the money's there and the people with those types of properties. And a little secret as far as I'm concerned is I feel like the area is underserved, as far as contractors. But
yeah, and then that just kind of plays into what you have to do in your specific market, right? So you need to understand this industry, that there's certain states that it's extremely competitive. Down south, you can do it year round. So that means there's going to be companies popping up every week, every month. You're just getting more competition every single day. So you need to play with that. You need to find a way to make your company attractive. Find a way to set yourself apart. And understand that in a state like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, all those southern states where it is extremely competitive because of the amount of companies, you may have to pay more per lead than somebody in Ohio, just based on competition.
And the other part of this too, while you are paying more per lead, generally that's because there is more competition. But then you're probably also going to get the higher ticket value again because you're getting those higher end jobs. Which again, if you think about it, if you're doing window cleaning, obviously that could be a lower end job. You're doing paver sealing, it's going to be a higher end job as far as a ticket, and your ROI could be a lot higher. So those leads cost more because there's less of them, if that makes sense. So a lot of times when your lead cost is higher, the average revenue per ticket also goes up with the cost per lead. So you got to think about it that way too.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so from there, the next thing you want to look at, actually two we're going to hit at once here, is one, your social media presence, and two, your reviews. Now, and I'll tell you why the reviews and social media presence matter. We can look at the statistics of almost any ad account that we have. And obviously, we're running offers where people click and come in and they either go into a messenger sequence or some kind of a information collection apparatus that we have built. But of the people that click on that, it's only about 30% of the people actually click on the offer. And the other 70% of people that click on your ad that don't click on the offer, what they do is they click on the Facebook page name. And what happens is they go in there and they check you out. And if you have not made a post in the last few months, if you have 0 reviews, again, this is what they're looking for, your ad program's not going to work. And again, we've seen this across the board. A lot of times when we have like an ad campaign that we're like, this is not working, this is a great offer for this area, it has worked for other companies in the state, we go and look at their Facebook page and we find out that they just don't keep it up. They're not posting, or the season started and they got busy and they didn't post, and it just looks like they're out of business,
Even more so than out of business, if you haven't posted in a long time, like we've seen people not posting in years. I'm talking 2-3 years. People might think that the ad is a scam. They don't want to give their information because they're not really sure if it's safe to, because this page hasn't posted in 3 years, but yet it's running an ad. So that's the biggest thing. You just want to try to stay active. The other thing too is staying active is only showing off your work more. You're showing everyone coming to your page then, the type of work that you do, your house washes, your roof washes, the driveways you sealed, the windows you cleaned. They want to see that. If they're going to employ you, they want to see the work that you do. And that ties into reviews too. They want to see that you have good reviews. They want to see that people were pleased with your customer service, and when you came out, you were polite and did a great job and took your time on things and were just accommodating, really.
Yep. And the other side of that is that when you're running ads and people are engaging with your ads, that drives your engagement level up. And when your engagement level on your page goes up, people will naturally see those organic posts that you're making. Or again, we have a service now where we're actually doing it for people as well, because sometimes it's an act of God to get people to do it. And I get it, they're busy, or they don't know what subject matter to put behind it, or they just don't have the time. It really doesn't matter. But one of the things we advise of when you were running an ad campaign is, at a very, very minimum, we want you to post once a week. Ideally, 3 times is great. 5 times, we can almost put a guarantee behind. You're going to get more leads. You're going to get a cheaper cost per lead, because what's going to happen is the people engaging with your ads, again, they'll be scrolling tomorrow, and while they might still see your ad here and there, now they're going to start seeing all these natural posts coming through their feed, and they're going to click on them, go to your page, and it's going to drive up your conversion. And a lot of times that is just the difference between a high performing and a non-performing or a mediocre campaign, is what you're doing on social media, and if you're trying to get reviews. But anything else to add to that?
No, not really. The only thing I would add to that is, like he said, don't feel like you need to post every single day. If you can, that's even better. It's going to be awesome. But like I usually tell people on the phone, 2 to 3 times a week, if you can, is really all that's necessary to keep it consistent, keep the posts going on there. And the other thing too is, it doesn't necessarily need to be pictures and videos all the time either. You could do something as simple as, hey, I'm going to be in this town today. Beautiful town. Something like that. It does not have to be complicated.
Yeah, or again, you go in, post your picture of, hey, here's the house we're at. We're working on this today. If you're in this neighborhood, shoot us a message. And a lot of times, when people see local landmarks or they see neighborhoods they recognize, that'll make them more apt to work with you. On top of the ads. So, so from there, the next thing we look at too, and this is part of the ad, is a couple different ways we can set them up. Now, our favorite is Messenger. So, is the channel you want your leads to come in through. People, and what we find is with Messenger, let's back it up. Let's say you get a lead off your website or you're using a lead form on Facebook, and someone submits their name, email, and phone number. Now you can call those people, and they don't necessarily have to answer. You can text them; they don't necessarily have to answer. But if you get them in Messenger, you have a much more higher probability of turning them into a lead, because now you have a third way of getting in touch with them. Again, we've just had a lot of success with that, where someone clicks on your ad, it opens up Messenger, and now you got them. The flow starts, and you can go back through your business page and message those people anytime you want now. But the other thing is too, it's just always sitting there now in their Messenger. That if they go back through and look, you can retarget people, run a Messenger ad in there. It's just we just find a lot more success in that. So that's not to say we won't run phone channels. Again, we do have more advanced campaign where they come in through Messenger. We collect all the information. We will send them a text and an email to follow up. And a lot of that's changing with the industry right now, with what you can text and what you can't. But those kind of regulations do not affect Facebook Messenger. And again, if that's the platform you're running ads on. And then from there, again, we got them in, and then there's their follow-up. Do you want to go after that one as far as, the follow-up?
I feel as though follow-up should be pretty self-explanatory for everyone. You just want to be cordial, timely. Just try to do it as quickly as you can. Now, I don't expect you to be able to follow up with everybody within seconds. That's unrealistic. But, just try to do it as quickly as you can. If you're following up 12 hours later, odds are...
Yeah, they're moving on.
They moved on, right. They found a different offer. They lost interest. You just want to try to be as quick as possible. But, within a few minutes is fine. Even an hour is fine. We set up in our automation follow-ups as well. And, if they stop answering, it'll actually respond to them for you after an hour, sending them another message.
And we try to make it seem human versus being a bot. As close as we can. But at some point, the cat gets out of the bag. But
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And then it kind of does take us to, the last piece then, which is your quoting method. Don't quote in Messenger is what I would say.
Yeah.
Just try to not to if you can.
Yeah, the only time that I would agree with Messenger or quoting over the phone would be if it's outside of your service area. It's just, again, you don't want to drive 45 minutes for a bottom line job.
Right.
And you want to take a shot. And let's just say you don't think they'll meet your minimum, but just quote it where it'll be worth your time. And if you get it, good, then it'll be worth your time. And if it's not, it's not. But of the people that we talk to as well that say say leads are not converting, or they're having issues with closing the deals, a lot of times these guys are not quoting in person. Now, I know for some businesses that is really hard to do, but it really is the most effective way to go. And being, that's where you can walk the property, you can meet them, you can start that relationship. And again, just to give you some numbers, what we've seen is sometimes we've had people come in and say, I'm only closing 5-10%. And we're like, how are you quoting? And they'll say, hey, we call them, we get the square footage from a satellite view or however it is they're doing it, and we send them a quote by email. But the thing is, so that does work sometimes. But quoting in that manner versus in person, especially, again, a lot of people we work with are, they're newer in the industry. They just need at bats. What works better is the in person, and it's going to go from like a 5 or 10% close rate if that's what you're seeing, to 30 to 60% by being in person. And again, when you're in person too, be presentable. Don't be smoking. Have a nice, have your vehicle taken care of. You don't have to have obviously, a fully wrapped truck and stuff, but be presentable, be personable, and just be in person, walk the property, show your value, explain to them why, what you do, your processes, again, because when you build the value in like that, you're not going to have as big of a trouble closing those bigger tickets. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it pretty well, honestly. I mean, if I know that if David here could have me do in-person quoting and calls, he absolutely would. Unfortunately, because we target all over the country, it's not really possible. So I got to stick to the phone.
We'll do Zoom if you're willing to, though.
Yeah, we will do Zoom, but phone calls aren't awful either. I personally would just suggest trying to stay away from quoting in Messenger. We've seen people do that. The only way I would ever quote in Messenger is if somebody they finish the flow, you have their information, their phone number, their email, and they start asking you a ton of questions, and you're kind of going back and forth with them, getting some baseline. They want some baseline pricing, and they have questions about your services specifically. Maybe then you could shoot them just an idea of what it might cost.
That makes sense.
But other than that, I would try to call them right away, and definitely I would suggest in-person quotes if it's possible.
Cool. I mean, I don't have anything else on this one, but what you just witnessed is episode 1 of our new podcast. Again, we decided to do it in-house so that we could, again, go through what makes a pressure washing Facebook ad campaign work. So future episodes, again, we're going to be going into other things like SEO. We're going to be going into local service ads, Google ads, and we're going to start bringing some of our clients on. And again, we can tell you this stuff till we're blue in the face. And I'm sure you're listening to us, you're hearing it, but I truly believe once we have your peers in here telling them how they handle these leads and what they do, that it'll really make the difference. So that's what we're going to have in future episodes. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.